Hello students, once again I welcome you all in this video where we are going to discuss the physiology of human heart. In the previous video, which was based on the anatomy of human heart, we have seen that our heart or the human heart consists of four chambers, the upper two chambers which are known as auricles or atrium, and the lower bottom two chambers which are known as ventricles. So if this is the left side, then this chamber will be what? Left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle. And in the previous video I have made the structure with two colors. This right side was with blue color and this left side was with red color, just to only tell you, to indicate you that this side of the heart is having what? Deoxygenated blood, but the left side of the heart is having oxygenated blood. And auricles are and ventricles both are separated from each other by a muscular wall that is known as what? Septum. So both the auricles are separated from each other and both the ventricles are separated from each other, but auricles and ventricles are connected with the walls that are present in between them, as bicuspid valve is present in between the left atrium and left ventricle, and tricuspid valve is present in between the right atrium and left ventricle. So this was all about the previous video. Now we will discuss what is the physiology of human heart and how the blood is pumped through this muscular organ. So when we talk about the physiology, you know, heart is what? Pumping organ, and this is having specific muscles which are known as cardiac muscle. Actually, these muscles are what? These muscles are involuntary in nature and they do not work on our will. So if the muscle is there, it means what? Physiology of the muscle is what? Contraction and relaxation. So the blood is pumped from our heart due to the contraction process, and during the relaxation process the blood will be filled in these four chambers. So the contraction and relaxation of all the four chambers of our heart is known as, this is known as heart beat. So what is heartbeat? The rhythmic contraction and relaxation of all the four chambers of heart is known as heartbeat. So how the chambers are going to contract? Do you think that the whole heart is going to contract together, or only few chambers will contract? So let me tell you, the upper two chambers which are named as left and right atrium, they will contract simultaneously, means together, and these ventricles will contract together. When these ventricles will contract, the auricles will relax, and when the auricles will contract, the ventricles will relax. So what is happening here? Since we know that atriums are the chambers which is going to receive blood, this left atrium is going to receive blood, and this blood is what? Oxygenated, coming from the lungs. This right atrium is going to receive the blood from body parts, upper and lower part, and this blood will be what? Deoxygenated. So when these auricles will contract, the blood is going to enter and fill in the lower two chambers, left and right ventricles. So during the contraction of auricles, since the pressure will be more in the atrium, so these valves will be open and blood will flow from here to lower chambers. Now, during the contraction of ventricles, again the pressure will be more here, so these valves will be closed. Bicuspid and tricuspid valves will be closed and blood will get only one pathway here to flow, that is what, from left ventricle the blood will move in only this way, and from right ventricle the blood will move only this way. Both, this is the main artery which is going to supply the blood to whole body other than the lungs, and this is the pulmonary artery which is going to provide the blood to the lungs. So this is what contraction and relaxation of heart. One more topic is there, that is known as heart sound. Perhaps an instrument is used by the doctors to hear the sound of our heart. So where from the sound is originating from our heart while it is going to contract and relax. What is happening? Two specific sounds can be heard, like love and dove. So when such type of sound is going to produce and when dove sound is going to produce. When the ventricles are going to contract, these valves, bicuspid and tricuspid valves, are going to close. So the closure of love is what? Closure of bicuspid and tricuspid valve. So when these valves will close, we will get a sound, and this sound is what? The first sound of the heart, that is received from the stethoscope. Then the second sound is what? Dove, and this will come when the ventricles will relax. During the relaxation, when the pressure will be less, these valves, these semilunar valves which are present in pulmonary artery and aorta, these are going to close, because now the blood is going to come downside, and this is the function of the valve, that they are going to allow the blood flow only in one direction. So when these ventricles will relax, blood will come again and these valves will close. So dove is what? This sound will be listened during the closure of semilunar valves in aorta and pulmonary artery. So these are the two sounds, means the sounds are what? The closure of, not the opening of. Perhaps you are also observing this, when we are going to open the door, they are not going to produce sound, but when we are going to close the doors, they are going to produce sound. So in the same way, valves are going to create sound when the valves are going to close. So two sounds are here, love and dove. And heartbeat is what? Rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the complete all the four chambers of heart. Now we will discuss about the heart pressure or the blood pressure. Since these ventricles are going to contract, so the blood will flow with a pressure in the arteries, and due to this pressure the blood will flow in a wavy like manner, and this wave can be felt in the arteries, which is known as what? Pulse. So perhaps you are having an idea that doctors are going to touch here near the wrist or here near the neck below the jaw. Why? To check the pulse of the human beings, because when the heart is going to pump the blood, the pressure will be more and the arteries are going to expand, and when the ventricles are going to relax, they are going to relax again and the pressure will be less. So now we will see what is the path of blood flow within the heart. So what is the path of blood flow. If you remember in the previous video, we have started counting the chambers from left side. So if this is the first chamber, why? Because oxygenated blood enters in this chamber, and this oxygenated blood is coming from where? From lungs. So oxygenated blood is going to enter in the left atrium. As the blood will flow in the left atrium, when it will be completely filled, now it will contract. During the contraction, these valves are open, so the blood will flow into the ventricles. So from left atrium, the blood is going to enter in the left ventricle. Now, when the lower chambers are going to contract, when the left ventricle is going to contract, the blood will go into where? Into main artery, that is known as aorta. So when this left ventricle is going to contract, the blood is going to flow into the main artery, that is aorta, and from aorta the blood is going to distributed to body parts. So in the body part means in the tissues, when the blood is flowing in the capillaries, oxygen will be absorbed in the cells which are needed the oxygen, and simultaneously the CO2 gas, carbon dioxide gas will be released in the blood. So when the blood is again coming from the body part, it is what? Deoxygenated. Deoxygenated means blood plus carbon dioxide gas, means deoxygenated, oxygen is removed, and this is what? Blood which is having carbon dioxide gas. So this deoxygenated blood is carried by veins. Now veins are the blood vessels which are going towards the heart. So veins are going to carry this blood to right atrium by the main vein, that is known as what? Vena cava. So still you are remembering, this is what? Vena cava, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. So superior vena cava is bringing the blood from the upper part of the body to the right atrium, and inferior vena cava which is bringing the blood from the lower part of the body in the right atrium. Now this deoxygenated blood reaches in the vena cava, and from vena cava it will move in the right atrium. So from right atrium, when the atrium will contract, the blood will flow into the right ventricle. Right ventricle, and when this ventricle will contract, the blood is having only one pathway to pass, that is what? In the pulmonary artery. So the blood will move in the pulmonary artery. So from right ventricle, it is going to pass in the pulmonary artery, and from here again the blood is going to enter in the lungs, where purification of blood means the CO2 gas will be released from there, from the alveoli, and fresh oxygen will be absorbed. So this is what the whole pathway of blood within the heart means. The oxygenated blood will enter in the atrium, then into the left ventricle, from here into the aorta, then to all the body parts. From body parts again it is coming in the third chamber to vena cava. So from right atrium it is sent to the right ventricle, and from right ventricle with the help of pulmonary artery it is sent to the lungs for the oxygenation of blood. So this was the path of blood. Now we will see the circulation of blood, why it is called double circulation. Circulation of blood in human being is known as what? Double circulation. And why it is called so, we will see here. Suppose if from body parts the deoxygenated is blood coming from the upper part and from the lower part, so this deoxygenated blood is going to enter into the atrium, and from atrium the blood is going to fill in the ventricle, and when the ventricle is going to contract, this blood is going to reach into the lungs by this pulmonary artery. So once this blood comes to the heart, it is not going to reach into the body parts. Again it will come from the lungs. From the lungs now, when it will become oxygenated, then it is going to come again. Now this oxygenated blood is going to come from the lungs and it is going to fill in the left atrium, and from left atrium it is going to pass into the left ventricle. From left ventricle, when the ventricle will contract, this blood is going to move in the main artery that is known as aorta. This is what? Aorta. And from aorta, now the same blood which came in the right atrium, now this blood is going to leave and reaching to the body parts from where it arrived. So you are observing here, during the one cyclic movement, the blood is going to pass 2 times through the heart, and that's why it is known as what? Double circulation. So double circulation is what? The same blood is going to pass 2 times while a complete circulation. Circulation means what? Cyclic movement means from where we are going to start, we have to reach there. And you know, if the blood is coming from the body, when it will reach to the body parts, at that time one cyclic movement will be completed. And you are observing here, this blood is going in the heart, and from heart it is going to the lungs, and again the same blood is coming, and now the same blood is going to pour out or send to the body parts. That's why it is known as what? Double circulation. So this double circulation means the circulation of blood can be divided into 2 categories. The first one is known as what? Systemic circulation, and the next one is known as what? Pulmonary circulation. So systemic circulation is what? The circulation between heart and body parts, and this pulmonary circulation is what? Circulation of blood between heart and lungs. So finally both of them will be completed, then the circulation of blood will be completed. I have made here the blue color lining to indicate the deoxygenated blood, but you all are knowing this fact, whether the blood is oxygenated or deoxygenated doesn't matter. Our blood or human heart will be always red. Whether it is represented by blue color, it is just only to tell you, to indicate you, to give you information that this type of blood is what? Deoxygenated. But you will be surprised to know that deoxygenated blood is also red and oxygenated blood is also red. If you are going to cut whether artery or vein, whenever you are going to bleed, that will always be red. So don't be confused by this blue color or red color. Remember one thing, blood is always red. So this is what circulation of blood, double circulation. What is the advantage of this double circulation? That each and every part of the body is having the supply of oxygen evenly and efficiently, because both type of blood is not going to mix together. So during the systemic circulation, when we are talking about the systemic circulation, now what will be here? The pathway of blood during the systemic circulation. In systemic circulation, we are going to always start from this part, means circulation between heart and body part. So oxygenated blood is coming from the lungs. So first, oxygenated blood, then it is entering into the left atrium. That is what, left atrium. From left atrium, it is going to fill into the left ventricle. Left ventricle. From left ventricle, it is going to enter into the aorta. From aorta to different body parts. And in the body parts, the oxygen will be absorbed from the capillaries. Aorta will further divide into arteries. Arteries are going to further divide into arterioles, and then arterioles are further divided into capillaries. So capillaries are the sites for the absorption and release of nutrients and waste substances. So their exchange of gases will take place in the body parts, and then from the capillaries will provide the blood to the smallest, thinnest blood vessels that are going to carry deoxygenated blood. That is what, venules. Then venules will transfer the same deoxygenated blood to veins, and finally the veins will transfer the blood from the body part. The blood will come with the help of vena cava, and it will enter into the right atrium. Right atrium. From right atrium, it is going to fill into the right ventricle, and from ventricle it is going to lungs. So this is what systemic circulation means, the path of blood from heart to body parts. Now the second one is what? Pulmonary circulation. So in the pulmonary circulation, what will happen? The blood is going to flow in between the heart and lung. So when the blood is going to provide into the lungs, it means what? The blood will be what? Deoxygenated. So deoxygenated blood, it will enter into the right atrium. Right atrium. From right atrium, it is going to right ventricle. From right ventricle, now it is going to fill into the pulmonary artery. From pulmonary artery, it is provided to the lungs. From lungs, it is again coming to the left atrium, but the blood vessels which are bringing the blood, that is what? Veins. And this vein is what? The vein that is coming from the lungs. So it is known as what? Pulmonary vein. So after lungs, the blood will move into the pulmonary vein, and finally it reaches into where? Into the left atrium. So this is what? Pulmonary circulation. This is what? Systemic circulation. When both of them are going to complete, then the circulation of blood is going to complete. And since the blood is going to pass 2 times during one circulation, that's why this type of circulation is known as what? Double circulation, which is a specific feature of all the birds and mammals. So that was all from the anatomy and physiology of human heart. and from the circulatory system of human beings, which consists of blood, blood vessels and human heart. You know students, in the online class it is very difficult to recall all the points which is given in the book. So keep reading your book simultaneously and keep preparing the notes on these topics. And if you face any problem or difficulty in any of the question or any of the topic, you can ask it in the comment section. So till then, we are going to meet in the next video for the next topic. Take care of yourself, be safe and keep studying.